find the defendant, Rakeem Mayers, not guilty of...
I'm telling you right now, in the big 2025, there is no age limit to crashing out. If anything, this ASAP Rocky trial, which the world just watched in 4K, is a testament to that. You know, ASAP Rocky, aka Rakim Myers, had the life that every man could dream of. A beautiful girlfriend in Rihanna, 2 beautiful children, millions of dollars, a booming rap career. And it seems like for years, everything was going his way. You know, minus that whole incident in Stockholm, but we're not going to talk about that. However, one day in 2021, everything just took a dramatic change in the wrong direction when a former associate / ASAP mob member accused Rocky of doing the unthinkable, shooting his own former friend in the middle of downtown Hollywood in damn near broad daylight. Now his friend Terrell Efron, aka Asap Relli, was both suing him and just went to trial to get him sent to prison. The state of California was able to find enough evidence to actually charge him with the crime. However, breaking news, as of right now, ASAP Rocky has officially won the trial and was acquitted and is not going to prison. You already know that's a W, and ASAP Relli is just looking like a complete crash out. There's no doubt in my mind that if the sentencing had come and he actually did lose the case, they would have completely cooked Rocky, just due to the fact that this man used taxpayer money and had all of us watching a YouTube live trial like it was a reality show for weeks just for him to lose the case in spectacular fashion. But thank God that did not happen. Honestly, just knowing the circumstances behind this trial is not surprising at all that he just won, because based on the overwhelming clusterfuck of ASAP Relli's testimony and everything that went along with that, it totally makes sense 100% of the way. But you can't say he didn't try his hardest. He almost had Rocky there in the first half. Bruh, honestly, I don't know how ASAP Relli thought that he was gonna beat Rihanna's BD. She literally came to the courtroom, had her kids playing around and everything for the jury to see, and it had them looking like a wholesome family. Meanwhile, this dude damn near about to square up with the lawyers and stuff, looking like, I don't even know, bro, looking just completely out of place, looking completely confused. It just definitely was not a good look for him, man.
You're not explaining the question. Here's my question. I see myself, but you're not explaining. So what I'm supposed to say is just no to.
But it was honestly crazy. From lawyers crashing out on 4K about to fight, to ASAP Rocky attacking paparazzi, to Relli talking crazy on the witness stand, it is definitely a trial to remember. But it just shows that this court shit is really like a Law and Order episode. So today we got to get into the beef that got ASAP Rocky locked up and the Hail Mary trial that got him almost completely murked by the justice system right now. Before we do, gang, I need you to do something for me, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Finna tap into this merch link in the description, man. Go tap in and cause some merch, and make sure you hit that notification bell so whenever I post, y'all tune in, man. So let's get into this right now. Off rip already, you know you're cooked upon arrival. If you're going into the trial of your life, trying to get a bag for allegedly someone coming and shooting you, and your whole story is you went and picked up the shell casings from the incident when the police weren't able to find it and brought it to the police station days later. What kind of shit is, bruh? I've never heard of such thing in my entire life. I'm not making it up. This is the reality and what the ASAP Rocky trial was running with. Well, there were some diehard fans who were sure that he was going to be innocent from his defense. At first, I really wasn't convinced because everything was kind of in 4K. It was not looking good for him. But in order to understand how that even came to fruition and how everyone were even able to find the reasonable doubt in the trial, you gotta go from the jump to understand how this all went down. So if you're familiar with ASAP Rocky and Relli's relationship, they go back a long time in the streets of Harlem. ASAP Rocky and Relli both grew up in Harlem, went to high school together. Rocky growing up in the 140th and Lenox Ave area of Harlem and spent his childhood with his grandma, then returning to Harlem in high school where he met Relli. ASAP Relli was one of the original members who was behind the scenes with ASAP Rocky at the beginning and had pretty much held him down throughout most of his career as a peer. Relli was more behind the scenes, like I said, on the creative side as a producer, but I'm guessing he never really got his big break. And it seemed like he always blamed that on ASAP Rocky and always just had some type of like animosity toward him. But they were still locked in for a number of years since then. But as unfortunately as it happens, time passed and it seemed like the relationship soured over several things. It seems like the brunt of this was the fact that he felt that ASAP Rocky was just not doing enough for his gang. As you probably know, ASAP Mob has pretty much fallen by the wayside since their come up and everything like that, and ASAP Relli just felt some type of way about it ever since the initial fame. But later down the line, he would go into detail saying that all the other members were either broke or junkies. I think he would use ASAP Ills as an example at one point, basically saying that he was a junkie living on the street or something, and he had some type of issue with their friend ASAP Josh, who passed away, and his mom was asking ASAP to pay for the body to be returned. Relli apparently felt that that didn't happen or something like that, when apparently ASAP Rocky actually did pay for the funeral. It just kind of just all in around seemed like Relli was some sort of hater or something like that. But at the beginning of the trial, you didn't really get this sense, you know? At the beginning of the trial, just when you saw the evidence and how he was acting and how he presented the story and how the media presented it, you thought that he might have had a point, you know? Maybe had a point. But you're gonna see that that is not exactly what happened. But things apparently got into a weird, crazy predicament on the night of November 6, 2021. So we'll get into that right now in chapter 2, the shooting in question. So on the night of November 6, 2021, ASAP Relli would apparently be sleeping at the Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood when he was awakened by angry texts and missed calls from ASAP Rocky. This is his side of the story, right? Apparently fearing for his life in his own words, when he answered ASAP Rocky, he was probing him, asking for his location and to meet him. Later though, in the trial, we would see the actual text messages, of course, and it would paint a more hostile picture that ASAP Relli was actually instigating everything that went on top of the fact that he posted these messages saying that like ASAP Rocky was like, yo, where you at, where you at, where you at. That's what he initially gave to the police. But in reality, in the trial, the messages were deleted, and it didn't show that ASAP Relli was kind of being the aggressor, which is off rip, not looking good if you're deleting text messages. But he would agree to meet ASAP Rocky and two other ASAP members, ASAP 12 and ASAP Ills, on a side street adjacent to Hollywood Boulevard near their parking garage. So when they all met up, they would all be seen on camera for the initial encounter. A shouting match would go down, and ASAP Relli would see that ASAP Rocky pulled a gun. He would detail that Rocky would threaten his life, that's what he said, as Ills got in between them and would cool down the situation. The footage would clearly see ASAP Rocky with a gun, which is no pun intended, the smoking gun for the whole incident, you know, everything in question. That was the only evidence that he really had. It would then seem like ASAP would put it back in his waistband and try to walk away, but then he would change his mind and fire the gun at Relli. But there was a brief scuttle right before that, at which point they all ran off in multiple directions. Multiple 911 callers would call in saying there was gunfire, but when the police arrived where the 911 caller said the shots rang out, they searched for like 30 plus minutes and didn't find anything. This is the major point of contention, because many said there was no evidence of the shooting and that Relli planted it. And it seems very much so. If the police weren't able to find the actual evidence, then he probably did plant it. But that's later down the line. You see, ASAP Relli would leave the situation, like I said, and they would all run, then return to the exact area of the shooting and attempt to find the bullets, which he would apparently magically find the bullets. Shortly after, he would message someone basically admitting that he's coming for Rocky's money and he was going to sue him for everything that he had and take him to trial. Before this point though, he would receive a message from Rocky basically stating that Relli was going around telling people that he shot him, when that wasn't the case. But Relli didn't back down, and he would file his first civil lawsuit against ASAP Rocky on August 10th, 2022, and then a criminal suit, and then that's where everything went down, where like the police raided his house and searched for guns and everything like that, and it just wasn't looking good for Rocky at that point. So fast forward from that whole incident, the whole trial came, and then it started, and it really just honestly looked terrible. And that's honestly the reason why this all went down. So first, when I present you the whole story of what happened at first that the media was giving, obviously you're going to come to the conclusion that, dang, Rocky looked like he was doing something crazy out here. Rocky looked like he was a homicidal maniac. Rocky looked crazy. But then in the trial, more things started to come out, and it showed everyone how Relli really was in the close picture. So I already talked about how Relli had basically deleted the text messages that basically painted Rocky as an aggressor. The number one thing though that had people looking at him crazy was none other than when he was on the witness stand. He basically was looking like a complete nincompoop, like an idiot, like a straight crash out, like a dummy. It seemed like the ASAP Rocky's lawyer took minimal time just to get him to break out of his comfortable shell. And it seemed like the lawyers, the prosecution lawyers, did not take the time that they needed to try to get Asap Relli to be serious in this scenario, because he was talking back, like asking what the questions actually meant. At one point he was like, yo, ASAP Rocky's staring at me. He's staring at me. Tell him stop staring at me. But it's like, that's the whole point of court, is to be able to face your accuser. So that off rip gave the audience a bad side. And it's honestly crazy because in the trial, ASAP 12 basically came up and basically testified too, saying that it was a starter pistol, along with ASAP Rocky's bodyguard actually came up and said that he uses a starter pistol basically as self-defense because he can't actually carry a legal gun. And on top of it, ASAP Relli's scars look like fist cuff things, like fighting, like fist marks after fighting someone. It didn't look like a gunshot or anything like that. So later down the line, the lawyers were just grilling him day in, day out, having him look crazy. And it's like, what careful case that he had before that kind of looked like it could have been beatable and actually looked like he could have won, it just altogether just fell down the waistline. And I feel like that is exactly what happened to Relli. That really just screwed up the whole trial. You know, he had it all in his hands, but the man could not be serious at all. And it honestly is pretty crazy that Rocky took this to trial. You know, he got offered a couple months in jail, but at the end of the day, if he took that, he would lose all his sponsorships and his career would basically be over. You know, he hasn't even been able to drop music in mad long, probably because of this whole scenario. He didn't know what was going to happen, what was going to play out. But thankfully, Relli's incompetence is what actually kept him out of jail. You know, if he had a more competent person accusing him, he may have just lost that. But bro had an all-star lawyer, and it shows at the end. So basically all this went down, and then the jury went in and then they deliberated. But I knew that it was going to be something crazy because of the fact that the deliberation was super short. It was only a couple hours, really. Like, it was like an hour. They said that he was going to like figure it out just several hours after, and guess what? They came out and they read to the whole courtroom that he was not guilty. And that just goes to show that you should not accuse people, because now Relli's just looking completely out of whack. He's looking like a crash out. Bro's not going to get any opportunities, no love from the music business anymore. Everyone's going to pretty much hate him for falsely accusing him. Man, it's just like a crazy situation, and he put it on himself. And at the end of the day, I have no one else to blame, bro. Like, why would you go against Rihanna? Like, she brought her kids there. You think Rihanna gonna let her man just go to jail and be like Tory Lanez? Bro, this is totally different than the Tory Lanez case too, because there was honestly more video evidence this time around, but there was more evidence that Tory Lanez might have actually did that and more witnesses. Relli was the only witness in this whole situation. So that just goes to show that don't do what Relli did. Do the opposite, the complete opposite, man. But hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think about everything that went down with this case. Let me know what y'all think. Do you think ASAP Rocky really did it? Do you think that he didn't do it and Relli was just trying to get a bag? But now Relli lost his bag because he lost this, and there's no way he's going to win the civil suit after that. But hey, let me know what y'all think. Real safe shit. You already know what's going on. Like, comment, subscribe, gang. Peace.